Welcome to the space for transformational leaders to unleash their magic, see better client results, work lighter, and live source. Hi, welcome. This is Darla Ledoux, founder of Sourced and author of Shift the Field. Welcome to this video in our series called the Old Tired Path series. The Old Tired Path is an energy pattern that's so familiar. We're so used to it. It is like a part of how we live and breathe and be in the world. As we grow and expand our businesses, we are going to be confronted with some limitations that our old tired path will bring us. And we have the choice to transform ourselves and our energy field and to step off of that path at any time. So if you want to learn more about what I mean by the old tired path, watch the first video in this series. We've crowdsourced from our client base common ones that people are either working with or have transformed, and we're bringing them to life here. So today we are talking about an energy pattern that I am going to speak about in a few ways. Powerless, powerful, there were several versions of like a similar energy, so I'm going to bring them forward here. If I'm powerless, maybe I defer to others. If I think I'm powerful or trying to be powerful, maybe I'm controlling, right? I'm doing everything myself. I'm in charge here. Maybe if I feel powerless, I feel like I don't make a difference. Whereas if I'm powerful, I feel like I do make a difference. And let's just say I'm judging myself on whether I make a difference or not. Okay? So the old tired path, there's always a judgment, right? We are constantly looking at ourselves, judging and assessing ourselves. Am I powerful? Am I powerless? Am I deferring? Am I controlling? Am I making a difference? Am I not making a difference? And that becomes our filter for life. Okay? So these get established usually when we're young, often before the age of 7, before we have a conscious mind. So we don't even know that there's an option to live in a whole other way, to step up here and create a whole new energy. I draw it up here to visually show, like, we don't have to be here all the time. But when we have this going on, we're constantly going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So let's break this down. If you're resonating with this idea of either I'm like a powerless, I have no control, or I'm in charge, I'm in control, I make a difference, right? And the make a difference, don't make a difference, it's got a little bit of a different nuance. So if you have that one, you may want to play with different words here, but it really is kind of similar, right? And this is a really big one that we work on in our Sourced Magic business program, is this idea that like actually we're all energetically connected. And so how you show up matters, right? Often we think it doesn't matter. I'm powerless. Like if I hide out, nobody's going to notice. If my energy is low, it doesn't really matter. I'm only hurting myself, but really we are making a difference whether we know it or not. So we're lumping that in. So let's break this down a little bit. Because the idea behind this is if we had an experience when we're young of powerlessness, and then we're constantly either feeling like I can't make a difference or I have to take control, right? And we're going back and forth between this, the outcomes actually end up being really, really similar. So if we feel powerless, right? We're deferring to others, we don't feel like we make a difference. Here's what we might experience. We might experience, I'm not going to try, Don't try, right? I'm just not going to try. Passive, right? Like, I'm just going to wait and see, that kind of energy. We might avoid or hide, right? If I feel powerless, I'm not going to show up and exert effort and put my best self forward because I'm really thinking it's not going to make a difference anyway, right? I might also feel embarrassed or ashamed. I may be looking outside of myself consistently, right? We're looking at who's in charge and what are they doing and how are they being and how do I protect myself or how do I need to show up because of that? So looking outside of myself, looking at who's in power, constantly analyzing that, right? And I might feel unsafe or like I can't rest, right? Like I can't actually rest because I feel this powerlessness and I'm kind of in heightened awareness of everything going on around me. Now, on the opposite of that, we might think that everything shows up differently on the opposite end of the old tired path, but the thing is, it's the same pattern. So we are judging every single thing that happens from a standpoint of, am I in control? Can I make a difference? Or am I not? Am I a victim? Is life happening to me? Right? And then we're trying to be more in control, but we really believe we're not. And we're trying to make a difference, but we really believe we don't. And it can feel very, very, very similar on either end. So let's say you're on this end, the powerful. Well, instead of being passive or not trying, you're probably doing a lot, right? You're doing a lot because you are taking charge, right? You're in charge or responsible. As a result of that, you're in charge and you're responsible and you're feeling like, oh, everything, if it's to be, it's up to me. Then what happens is you are also really looking outside of yourself. You're watchful of everything that's going on to see, what do I have to do here? Because I have to make a difference because I'm in charge, right? And so there's still this looking outside of yourself, being aware of everything, right? If it's to be, it's up to me. As a result of that, you might end up with some of the same things. This feeling like I can't rest, a feeling of constant awareness, being attentive, looking outside. On both sides, we might end up feeling embarrassed or guilty or shameful, right? If I'm in charge, if things don't go perfectly, right, it's my fault. It's my fault. So here it's not my fault, but I still feel, kind of this low energy anyway. Here, everything's my fault, right? I'm in charge of everything. And so it can end up being the same kind of vibe. So either end of this spectrum can have us feeling the same way. And we think, oh, if I'm don't make a difference, I'm going to work really hard to make a difference. And then I'll make a difference, but we're still going to feel like we don't make a difference. And everything that's happening is coming through this filter of, do I matter? Do I make a difference? Am I in charge here? Or am I a victim? Is life happening to me? But we're so busy analyzing it that the outcome is the same over and over and over and over again. So if you're resonating with this, just pause You may even want to pause the video and do a little bit of journaling on what is the impact of this? What is the impact of constantly being in analysis of whether you're in power, whether you're in control, whether you make a difference or not, and experiencing everything that happens in life through that filter, right? Is it on me? Do I have a chance? Can I make a difference? It's like exhausting, right? What if none of that mattered? What if none of that mattered? If you could let go of this, you could step off of this path and into a whole other world of possibility up here, right? There's a whole realm where nobody gives a shit if you make a difference or not, if you're in control or not. In fact, maybe nobody's in control, right? Maybe there is no power over. Maybe there is no victimhood in this world, and it really doesn't matter. It does not matter. It is irrelevant who's in charge. When you step into that world, who would you get to be? Who would you get to be? So just feel it. If it doesn't matter who's in power, in fact, if there's no such thing, what would that make available? What comes up for me as I'm present with that is love, nurturing, experiencing. Remember, sourced energy arises in the moment. So I didn't plan that in advance. I'm just present with, in this world where power is irrelevant, this is who I would be. This is who I am. This is an aspect of who I am that gets to come alive if I let go of concern about this. So love feels like just a beautiful measure of life if I'm not measuring power, right? It's just like, how much can I love here? And how much can I love here? And how much can I love here? How nurturing can I be of myself and the world around me? If power doesn't matter, right? How nurturing can I be of myself and the world around me? How can I experience this dance of life with other humans if I'm not worried about this? Can you feel that? If I have no concern about analyzing myself or judging myself and how I'm doing on this continuum, if I just let it go, I get to be loving, nurturing, and experiencing life with other humans. Pretty amazing, right? Can you feel the shift in energy? So I'm curious for you, if you ask yourself this question, because yours will likely be different than mine. If you ask yourself, what's available if I step off this line? If I no longer have to worry about how powerful I am or not, who do I get to be? Let me know. This is Darla Ledoux, founder of Sourced with our Old Tired Path series. I hope this is helpful. If you've gotten value from this, if you know people in your life who you think might relate to this, send them this video. Please like and subscribe. If you're interested in learning how do you use this, or how do you, where do I put this in my business model? How would I even do this kind of work with people? Come check out our offerings. We have a program called Sourced Magic Business where you actually design your business from your sourced energy. So you get to experience this whole thing for yourself. And really discover where in your work with clients do you help them step off the old tired path, and what's that look like, and what do you charge, and how do you fill it, and all of that good stuff. So Sourced Magic Business, check it out below this video. Bye.